Hello everyone. This video walks through completing Packet Tracer Assignment 8.2.2.7, Configuring OSPF version 2 in Single Area. This packet tracer is a part of the Cisco R&S Scaling Networks curriculum version 6. Now, in this particular lab assignment, we've got our topology over here to the left. We've got 3 LANs, or local area networks, connected to each router, and we got 3 WANs, or wide area networks, between each router to router. Now, with OSPF, there are 2 different versions that you learn about in Chapter 8 in the Scaling Networks curriculum. You've got OSPF version 2, which corresponds to IP version 4 network and networking addresses. Then you've got OSPF version 3, which corresponds to IP version 6 networks and IP version 6 addressing. So you want to, if you got IP version 4 addresses in your network, then you want to use OSPF version 2. If you're using IP version 6 network or addresses in your network, then you want to use OSPF version 3. The way I think about it is OSPF version 2, if you double that, you get IP version 4, right? So the 2 and the 4. With OSPF version 3, you double the 3, you get IP version 6, right? Or the 6. So that's just a little shortcut that I always remember which is which. Now with OSPF, we've got single area and multi-area. This one covers single area. We won't go into multi-area or explaining that because that comes a little bit later in another chapter in Chapter 8. Or sorry, in another chapter in the Scaling Networks curriculum. What we focus on in Chapter 8 is single area. So all of these devices are in one area as far as OSPF advertisements are concerned. They are still each separate networks. So here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different networks going on here. Okay. So when we go to configure it, let's go to R1 first. And these network addresses really help here in our diagram. Okay, so we go to enable config T, and we're going to start by doing router OSPF, and they want you to use a process ID of 10. Okay, similar to the autonomous system number at EIGRP, except for the OSPF process ID is local to this one specific router. Okay, so a router OSPF 10. Now we're going to set our router ID, which is like our identifier when we're sharing networks. Router 1 is going to be identified as 1.1.1.1 when it advertises to other ones and the other routers receive those advertisements. So it'll tell you it's from router 1.1.1.1. Okay. Now we're going to enter in all of our directly connected networks that are directly plugged into R1. So that's where these network statements come into play. So we'll do network. Let's do the LAN first, 172.16.1.0. And that's a /24, which remember is 255.255.255.0. But with EIGRP and OSPF, remember we use the wildcard. So for that, it's going to be 0.0.0.255. Now in EIGRP, we could stop here. In OSPF, we got to do one more step, and that's set an area number. All of everything is going to be in area 0 or the same area number, whichever one you choose. They want you to use area 0 here. Everything's going to be in one single area. Again, we'll get to multi-area another chapter. So we'll do that and then area 0 and hit enter. Now we're going to enter in our next network, 192.168.10.4, and that one is a /30, so that's 255.255.255. Wait, it's 3255 and then 252, right? So that one will be 0.0.0.3, area 0. Now last one, network 172.16.3.0. Again, that's a /30, 0.0.0.3, area 0. Okay. Now we want to set a path, and that again covers all 3 of these interfaces that are directly connected into R1. Okay. That's where it's going to be telling all the other routers about, hey, I know how to get to these 3 networks, even if some overlap. All right. Then we're going to do our passive interface of G00, because we don't want our LAN over here, PC1 or S1, to even get the routing update because it's not going to do anything with it anyway. So it saves us some bandwidth. and then we can exit out. Okay, so that's it. Those are the steps to configuring OSPF on R1. Now we're basically going to kind of repeat these, but changing the networks and the router ID for the other ones. And you'll see some adjacencies form as we are typing. So we'll first do our router OSPF10. Oh, sorry, typo. All right, now we're going to do our router ID 2.2.2.2. Then we'll start putting in our networks. So we got 3 networks plugged into R2. Again, let's start with the LAN, the local area network. 172.16.2.0 is a /24. So that's 0.0.0.255 is the wildcard, area 0. Again, everything's still in area 0. Network 172.16.3.0, that's a /30, so 0.0.0.3, area 0. Now that is the wide area network it shares with R1. Now we already entered that one in on R1, so again it forms that adjacency, so it knows about it, and you can see it identifies R1 as its router ID 1.1.1.1. Okay, now we'll do network 192.168.10.8, and that's a /30, 0.0.0.3, area 0. And then lastly, passive interface G00. You want to use the interface here. Okay. And then we can exit out. So again, we entered in all 3 directly connected networks there. Now lastly, let's go to R3. Enable config T, router OSPF10, router ID 3.3.3.3, network 192.168.10.8, 0.0.0.3, area 0. Now that is the wide area network it shares with R2 and R3. Enter. It's going to form an adjacency with R2 there. All right, there it is. Network 192.168.10.4, 0.0.0.3, area 0. That's the network R3 shares with R1, forms an adjacency. And then lastly, we'll put in our LAN 192.168.1.0. That's a /34, 0.0.0.255, still in area 0. All right, and then passive interface G00. Now again, that G00 could change depending on what interface this is. They happen to all be G00. Okay, and we see we get 100 out of 100. Now, to be able to check to make sure, you would do the same thing in all your routing, dynamic routing protocols, or anytime you want to check to see what our router knows how to get to, you want to do a show IP route. So here we notice that anything learned through OSPF will have an O at the front of it. Okay, it'll tell you how it learned about it, like what's the next IP address, the interface, and all of that. Okay, so if you do that on each router, you will see the networks have converged. Remember, OSPF converges very fast. All right, so again, that is OSPF version 2 in a single area. The next lab in chapter 8 will be OSPF version 3 in a single area, but that covers for IP version 6. So it is a little bit different. You don't have to enter in any directly connected networks in that one, but again, you'll see that in the next lab assignment. So that completes 8.2.2.7.